just a child, 4 or 5 years old, we lived in a small town, had only one Catholic church, one priest who was elderly, had heart condition, and so he was in the hospital a lot. And when he would be sick, visiting priests would come in, and they'd usually be there just for the one day. And when they would come on Sundays, my parents would always invite them to the house for what we call dinner, which was 2 in the afternoon on Sundays. But many times they would come to the house, and while Mom was cooking dinner, they'd be out playing ball with us and watching us roll on the grass and whatever. And I think that was the time when I started thinking maybe I could be a priest. And then when I got into high school, or grade school rather, was getting ready for high school, I had a very good friend, Russ Halstead, but he was a classmate of mine. And we had decided to go to another order to do a week-long experience. And we both thought it was wonderful. So we signed up to go to the Oblates of Mary Immaculate. And then in July of that year, Russ and I were together one day, and he said, "Oh, by the way, I've decided not to go to the Oblates. I'm going to go to the Vincentians, because my uncle was a Vincentian, and he went to Cape. So I'm going to Cape." And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll go with you." And that was how I got into the Vincentians. I went up to the Navajo reservation and signed up for 3 years, and I left 14 years later. But while I was up there, I was dealing with, well, we started a soup kitchen one day a week. I ended up being on the board of the women's shelter in town. I would give talks to people at the AA programs and the drug addiction programs. And I found out that for many years before we got there, the people who were serving that parish didn't do any of that stuff. And I thought, if I wasn't Vincentian, I probably wouldn't have done that myself. But because of our traditions of doing something about situations, I needed to do something. I think they would do well to get active in their parish and get to know their priests at their parish. Be active, like be a lector or somehow involved in what many Vincentians do. We celebrate Mass. It's the most important thing we do. And then I think they can form a decision of whether they want to do that or not once they're in touch with. We had a young man in the parish in Los Angeles who would come to Mass every day and go out and feed the homeless after Mass, and then go to work all day, and all on a bicycle because he had no car. And so finally we got him into a seminary, but nobody had ever asked him before, are you interested? So I think if a person gets close to the parish and becomes part of what a parish does and mingles with the priests and learns from them and maybe teaches them a little bit, that's the best way of making that choice.